Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's edition of Beyond the Ordinary Show. And I want to apologize. We're running a little bit late. I wasn't properly set up. I'm in a new location and my internet's a little spotty. And I thought it was on Lukaijah and Saskia's side, and it was actually mine. So I was projecting. How many of y'all have done that before, right? But again, we get to drop in and we get to be held in a space that actually nurtures instead of condemns, that allows us to trip up every once in a while, knowing that we'll be caught, but we have somewhere beautiful to land. And the place that we find that isn't always within ourselves. We don't always have to be the one that catches ourselves, to save ourselves, to be so sovereign that nothing can ever get to us. Quite the opposite. It's the vulnerability that comes up when we allow that divine union through the relationship and intimacy of others that allows us to discover not only where we've been and the things that are still make us beautifully human. And God, why wouldn't we want to be in these amazing bodies right now? But to be met in that and nurtured and uplifted and expanded upon. And that's what today's call is going to be about, and so much more. So I'm really excited about the energy and the transmissions that are going to be emitted here today. And it may be new for some of y'all. This may be a different aspect of codes, if you will, of an energetic that it's just time for you to remember, to embody, to expand upon. So again, it's going to be an amazing call. We're going to be led on a couple of journeys. So I'm going to suggest that you lay back or relax as much as you can. If you're multitasking, just drop in and give yourself this time to receive this beautiful gift from our amazing speakers today. And so let me tell you a little bit more about them. So Lukaijah and Saskia are spiritual guides and multi-dimensional healing facilitators. And if you don't know what that means, you're going to find out soon. Who integrate a variety of coaching processes and quantum tools, including timeline repair, DNA upgrades, and soul retrieval to help transform individuals and couples worldwide. They're the founders of Divine Union Alchemy, which is a method of transformation designed to restore the organic templates of inner divine union so people can remember how to overflow. Acknowledging that there are forces that seek art and come between divine union couples, Saskia and Lukaijah have identified various anti-hierogamic technologies and blocks in place so that they can be removed on all levels. Through their online courses, healing packages, they provide unique and customized support to those who are called to the path of divine union and are ready to activate their missions in service to the divine. And in service and in their healing activations and the coaching that they do, I had the benefit of sitting with Lukaijah several times as we exchanged just transmissions in this beautiful gathering of men and seeing what was possible as we surrendered into a vulnerability man to man and allowed that to come up. And then I had a session with Saskia the other day, and the information, the energy, and the codes that she was bringing in were just absolutely divine. So again, I'm super excited. Y'all sit back, enjoy. And Saskia, Lukaijah, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, John. It's wonderful to see you. It's wonderful to be with you and your audience. We send our love and our great appreciation for this time together.
Thank you. Now, I read a mouthful through your bio, and there's so much information. There's even an activation in that. But I'd love to hear from you guys. What is it that y'all do? How is it that you help the community that you reach out to and facilitate?
We have our own unique style of work from different lineages and teachers. So, but they have a complementary place where they meet. So I'll let Saskia share first what she does, and then I can add on what I do and how it all blends together.
Beautiful.
So hi everyone, I'm Saskia and I'm a multi-dimensional quantum healer. And well, what that means is basically we all have Akashic records stored in our DNA that have imprints of both our childhood, our past lives, and also ancestral imprints from both bloodlines of our mother and father. And so what I do in quantum field work, we recode essentially like the subconscious programming. There's lots of different templates that we can be coded with. Some of them are in our favor, and some of them are, let's say, they influence our current timeline in a negative way. And so what I do in quantum field work is we essentially retrieve missing soul parts, missing soul fragments that got split off to trauma and are stuck in different timelines. And, you know, it's like a soul rescue mission almost to our higher self, where we go back into those fallen inorganic timelines. We can also call them phantom timelines. And we retrieve these lost soul fragments. We escort them back home. We remind them of who they truly are. And, you know, that's how they get purified, restored back in the heart of God. And then from that place, we integrate them as aspects of our higher self. So we can really like restore more of our power, our remembrance of our worthiness, for example, our gifts, and so on. It just integrates more of our true soul essence to dwell in our body. And from there, it allows us to do multiple corrections. Like I specialize on upgrading the mission and union template in the heart, restoring the inner divine union, you know, bringing the soul closer in hierogamic inner marriage back with God, because that's literally the core of everything. That's, you know, what mirrors our entire life experience. So yeah, and I do corrections on the devotional template. So that's my main focus in my work.
Oh, so beautiful. And I certainly felt that when we had our sessions together. So good. Thank you for explaining it so thoroughly and eloquently. And Lukaijah, tell us.
Yes, well, it started 13 years ago when I became trained in and started training healers in a modality called Theta Healing, which works on the subconscious mind, limiting belief systems, and reprogramming the mind, and witnessing shifts that we can reconfigure how our mind is operating to be in alignment with what we want to create. And that took me on a journey where I felt something was missing. I felt there was this deeper heart piece missing. And that took me to a journey to 30 countries to study many modalities. And as they all integrated, I formed something called heart alchemy, which is integration, a synthesis of all the things I've picked up on, which really helps someone go to the next level of evolution of where they're at. So she spoke it so beautifully, devotion and union. It starts with our devotion, our union with source opens us to our mission, our purpose, all we are. And then we got to clear everything in the way. So it's basically emotional, mental, psychological, spiritual resolution of all blocks till we can be grounded in our inner peace, our strength, our power, our balance, our harmony, and attain fulfillment. Because ultimately that inner peace and the fulfillment of communion with who we really are, and then the fulfillment that comes from serving what we want to do, that brings us joy, that impacts others, bringing all the keys together to allow someone to experience that fulfillment within.
That's beautiful. I love how you guys weave the integration in your work together, because Saskia, when you talk about integrating soul pieces and bringing them back to the current timeline, if you will, not to the sort, but bringing them back, that's part of our wholeness. So wherever we're fractured, wherever that soul loss had an escape valve, we're meeting other energies creatively in that spot where we're not as full. And so we tend to resonate with those similar types of energies. And if we're trying to get to a particular soul mission or heart path, if we're trying to be in a divine partnership and it's not quite landing, a lot of times it's because these soul aspects are waiting to integrate. And when they're not, we hit that wobble where the mirror is reflected back. And no matter what type of work that we do around it psychologically, sometimes, unless we can attune and bring back the soul pieces that carry the static to attract that like that we're looking for, it won't really land. And so there's something said to it about bringing it back. And then the work that you do, Lukaijah, for the re-imprinting of the brain, for the realization that helps to remember even more. There's such a beautiful merging of what you guys do. I want to ask you guys, why is it Divine Union Alchemy for you? What is it specifically about the Harris Gamos energy? Again, that Divine Union energy that it resonates so much for you and that you guys are teaching from now.
Speak on that. Well, it's like a path. Like Harris Gamos is literally like the inner union between our soul and God. So this, there are certain code carriers that are, meant to spark this remembrance in others, because like there's so much conditioning that has, for most of us, we've gone through this conditioning, this experience that we've projected this desire of, uniting our soul deeper with God externally. We've tried to, most humans know this experience. We've all been seeking externally for our fulfillment, be it from, a partner, be it from, just any outwardly experiences, when, we have to really discern between our soul desires and our ego desires. And, the very, very core of our soul desire is really to come back into this harmonious inner union with God's source, prime source creator. And this is also what you were mentioning before with, coming back with our own lost soul pieces back into wholeness, uniting all soul fragments back together. And that's really at the very core, our deepest soul desire to merge back with our own parts and with God. And so this truly is a moment-to-moment process that continuously, gets strengthened and deepened. The more we really just come into this communion with God, really share our heart, what we're feeling, what we're desiring with God in this deep faith and trust that our true soul desires are actually one and the same with God's divine will. Like there's no separation between that, because our soul is of God. And so it's truly like God's will is absolutely aligned with our soul desires.
So how do we start getting into resonance that? Because there's a lot of information that you could be telling me right now. If I'm not ready to receive it seems so foreign to me that this is what's supposed to happen for that union to happen. If I don't have my radio tuned in to pick up that frequency, how is it that you help your clients pick up on that? To translate that knowing into something that they can buy in the mind as a potential, well, that sounds wonderful, but I don't know how to carry it and make it true for me.
Yes, totally. So the number one thing, the only thing literally that stands between us and our true soul desires are the blocks. It's our own resistance of letting go of things that are not truly aligned to us. And this can come in form of false beliefs, false protective mechanisms, of course, also our ego identities and overlays that have been, formed through trauma, and that we sometimes even identify with our own personality, but they're actually just, like consequences of trauma to protect ourselves. And it's like the more we cling to those, identities or false beliefs, like we are the ones blocking this love, this support, this blessing of God out, to bless us with the fulfillment of our true soul desire. So what we need to do is like identify these blocks, of course, but more important than that is, this is why I work with the devotional template, because that's so key, because our devotion is literally proportional to how fast we can burn down these blocks. That's the beauty of it. It doesn't depend on struggle or time invested. It simply depends on the purity and strength of our devotion. And this is why, when devotion is really this willingness to stand for truth, to let everything die that's inorganic to us, that does not truly belong to us, that's just holding us back. And it's sometimes not so easy, because, it's like gives us this illusionary safety that we want to hold on to. But it's like, if we truly are willing, to bring heaven on earth back into our bodies, back onto this earth, then, this inner soul fire in the devotional template in the high heart gets so strong. It's this willingness to really burn down everything false and really let everything die, even if it's, temporarily painful, if it's a temporary feeling of like an ego death, it shatters the ego, but ultimately it's the most fulfilling past that we can ever know, and we will receive everything that we've ever wanted, our deepest, truest soul desires, but really it's like this path of surrendering to God. And it takes going back into every single timeline where this faith and trust in God got shattered, or where our worthiness, this remembrance got forgotten, where we feel like we don't truly deserve these soul desires, or that we can't truly trust that if we let go, if we surrender, that God is really going to bless us with them. So there's a lot of things to track, and this is where the multi-dimensional fieldwork comes in, where we track these past timelines, and we help everyone release their blocks. But the very first correction we do is strengthen the devotions that to accelerate this whole process.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I wanted to have you guys on the show, because of your capacity to augment the light where there is a blind spot, to bring that out, to bring awareness, so that we can be aware of, we could think that we're being in devotion, but all these other things are running and they just won't break through. And so bringing light, illuminating, providing a pathway for it to dissolve through the vulnerability, through the devotion, in a way that perhaps hasn't been looked at or devoted to, if you will, previously. And that's what really starts breaking apart those dams and allows the flow of that light to start streaming in a whole new different way. What I would love to do for everybody on the call, again, because everybody's so new to you on the call today, probably a lot of people from our audience, I'd love it if we get into a process with you guys, if we can open it up and let them start feeling the flow of energy and how you start bringing about that multi-dimensional awareness through transmission that we receive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you guys are guided to, I'd love it. I'd love it if you can lead us in something.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to add on to what Saskia was saying briefly before we drop in all of us together, is that all of us, when we were born and raised by our parents, unless we had enlightened parents, we did not receive the love, the presence, the level of care and consideration that we really deserved as souls here on this planet. And many of us, in fact, went through neglect, abuse, and levels of trauma that created wounding and imprints, to which later in life we sought to fill the voids with coping mechanisms. And so what you were just saying, John, about the things that come in that keep us from devotion, when we don't even realize it consciously, we are seeking to fill these voids that were created from not getting what we needed as children. So we really want to support everyone here to really digest and internalize the fact that they are holy, they are worthy, and the sacred love of a holy mother and holy father that perhaps they did not get when they were a child. They can source that, they can fill that up until their being is so full of self-love and validation and wholeness, and their connection to God's source is purified in that devotion, that the worthiness is restored. So we'll do a brief activation for people today to introduce people to our work. And ultimately, we want to plant the seeds of how holy, how beautiful, how worthy, how divine every soul is who's listening right here and right now. So let's drop in together. Thank you for that invitation. Let's all close our eyes and call our energy to be present in our body as we ground down and root down all the way in to the very core of the earth. Bringing that earth energy back up through our legs, through our body, extending that energy and connecting to the highest plane of source. You can just visualize a pillar of light extending all the way up beyond the space you're in, beyond the atmosphere of the earth, beyond the galaxy, all the way up to the highest plane of source. and invite your higher self to anchor a pillar of light through your being, from the highest plane and back down through your body, and grounding it down all the way in to the very core of the earth. As we bring that earth and that source energy into our hearts, let's breathe into our hearts together, and everyone open your heart and visualize a platform of light below us, a temple of light surrounding us, and a pillar of light anchoring into the space from the heart of source to the heart of the earth. As we call upon the presence of Holy Father, Holy Mother, guardians, our higher selves to be present. And we're going to invite everyone in the audience, if you give permission, for Source, guardians, and myself, Lukaijah and Saskia, to work on you today on all levels, only for your highest and best. I'll invite you to say yes in your heart or out loud to give us permission to work with your energy now. And if everyone listening gives permission for themselves to receive what they're here to receive and release what they're here to release today, I also invite you to say yes. We ask that all interferences, distortions be removed from the temple space now. And now that the field has been set, I'm going to invite everyone to feel a pillar of light flowing through your body. As we open up the field to the Divine Union Alchemy temple that surrounds us now, to the blueprint of divine union to anchor into this temple space, and invite every heart to open to receive what is meant to be received today as we open and call forth the Holy Father arc, the kingship arcs, the energetic structure that emanates from the highest plane, the structure of the divine masculine code that comes through and anchors down into the field, that carries the codes and the blueprints of divine will, divine plan, heaven on earth. And open yourself to that and feel that divine architecture starting to grid through your energy body into this space. And if this is new to you, just breathe into your heart open and be present to receive. We ask that all multidimensional blocks to every individual receiving the Divine Union templates, the Holy Father and Holy Mother love. We ask that any distorted forces, dark forces, vows, agreements, spells, curses, contracts be removed from the field, that anyone's carrying that would block them from receiving the love that is inherently theirs. This resonates with you and you're willing for us to work on you in this way and to release these blocks. I invite you to say yes now.
So now we can start to visualize from the heart of God this beautiful golden source light and this ray of magenta and ruby from the Holy Father are streaming down through our crown, all the way into our root, also removing, as it's streaming down, any form of capping over our crown. It's this pure, living, eternal light, this cosmic living light enters our field. I'm also going to be using a light language to anchor it in and activate our DNA to receive. Kiana Maya Kiana, Ashukuya Maya Kiana. We're removing any capping, any overlays, any frequency fencing, blocking us from truly receiving this living light. Any overlays that don't allow us to truly see ourselves from the perspective of God, to really remember how sacred, how holy we are. Anything in our pineal gland Also now bringing in the indigo ray from the 6th dimension, fully clear out any distortions in our vision that don't allow us to fully see the full truth, to prioritize what is sacred, and have full discernment where we need to have strong boundaries. This is so important. This awareness is going to help us not only to be fully protected, but to really remember how worthy we are and to receive on a deeper level. This awareness is key. Kiana tiana, shukya maya kiana tiana. Beautiful. As we remove any miasma, any distortions, we make space for more of our true soul essence to anchor in. Pure emanation from the heart of God. Now, as we anchor more of the ruby magenta tone all the way down into our root, we're activating more of the Christos, divine masculine blueprint, which looks like this beautiful tree of life architecture in our light body. It gives us this stability, this resilience, anchoring all of the 12 different roots, activating them, fortifying them to this living light, bringing this ruby for strength, for this remembrance of our purity, our innocence, collapsing out any false beliefs or imprints around shame, around unworthiness. Maya Kiana, Anya Kiana, Maya Kiana. Beautiful. So just anchoring also more of the magenta ray for deeper faith and trust in God's divine, miraculous support and provision that is accessible to us when we give God permission, when we connect to God's true nature, the true Holy Father, and we remove also just any distorted beliefs that we need to be perfect, that God's love is performance-based. We're removing this program out of the root that we have to fight so hard, that we have to prove something, that there's anything we could have done and what was done to us that could stop us from deserving this love. We're removing this program, also any ancestral programming, childhood programming, Kiana Maya Tiana, any beliefs in punishment for any misalignment, anywhere we have done something that was not from a place of who we truly are. We are removing any those beliefs that we would deserve to be punished. That's not aligned to the true cosmic Holy Father. That's a false belief that comes from the dark tyrannical father. Removing that out of the root, making space to anchor more of this love, this support, this provision, this remembrance of how it feels to really anchor this in and be fully deserving and receive this. Beautiful. As we've now upgraded more of this architecture in the root, we're now going to drop in straight into the heart. We're now going to open up a Holy Mother Art portal. It's beautiful, aqua blue, magnetic, swirling, oceanic tones, mixing them with emerald green, golden source light. This Holy Mother Art portal is a vortex, and it's just emanating the most soothing, loving, and caring energies, just gently inviting us to step into this portal, inviting us to merge our heart, the Holy Mother Art portal, connected to the 13th dimension. In this portal, we just experience how we're being infused with so much love, so much care. It's like deeply soothing us on the deepest core level. And also remove any numbing shields. We can allow numbing shields around our heart to gently be washed away. Kiana Maya Tiana, as we more and more remember the truth. of who we are as a sacred, beloved child of God, and how deeply loved we are, how deeply supported we are. And also any programs connected to these numbing shields that tell us that our sensitivity, our desires, or our pain is a weakness. This is an illusion, this is a lie, this is actually the key into the portal of God's sacred heart. When we share all of our emotions and desires with God, this is the deep communion, the inner divine union. We can allow ourselves to be met by God. It's just like opening up our hearts more to receiving this love, allowing us to really feel this on a cellular memory as more of this love, it's beautiful oceanic tones wash through our heart chambers and gently remove layers of trauma, layers of grief, washing out ancient trauma from abandonment, rejection, betrayal. More and more, we're not bypassing, we're just also just transmuting this by feeling whatever needs to be felt together with God. We're just restoring this remembrance that God is life and therefore connected to every living being, connected to every cell of our body that can feel. There's a direct portal from every cell straight to the heart of God. And as we anchor in this truth, as we remember this through our body, through our hearts, that every single time that we've ever been in torment and suffering and despair, we've never been alone. God's been with us, feeling what we've been feeling. And in this remembrance, there's this relief that washes through over us, that we've never been alone, that everything we felt, God's been feeling it together with us. But God could only step in and support us when we give God permission to our own free will, when we truly connect to God's true, benevolent, miraculous, and loving nature. If we're coming from a place of victimhood, we feel powerless and disconnected, we're not truly connecting to the true cosmic Holy Father. We can't fully be reached like this, or if we're blocking it out, we don't feel worthy. So we're just allowing ourselves to feel this once more in our heart on a deeper level, how God's always with us in every moment, and not just God's presence, it's also God's care, how deeply God cares about everything we're feeling and what we're desiring. God's love is so unfailing and miraculous and supportive. That's just God's true nature. God can't be any other way. God loves blessing us, and us sharing this with God, what we're feeling and what we're desiring, is the key that opens up all the doors. Just allowing this love, this support to flood through our heart, to our entire body, and allow our heart, our body to remember what it feels like to fully be seen, to be understood, to be loved, to be cherished, to be supported, and to be provided for in every level, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, just every possible level. Beautiful. So now we're upgrading our mission and union template in our hearts to anchor in more of this love and this remembrance. Beautiful.
And as these masculine and feminine energies of your own higher self start to merge into this divine union alchemy within your being, activate, call upon the divine union of your higher self to be alive, to be activated within your being. As you blend and merge the wisdom of your divine feminine and masculine aspects in holy union within your being. We ask that everyone here receive today the activations, the upgrades, the insights that they're meant to receive, to go to on the next phase of their highest timeline moving forward. We ask all obstacles be removed through divine grace and divine intervention. And if everyone on this call is willing to receive all of that now, I invite you to say yes. And we're finally calling back all of our energy, all of our power, all of our heart, our love that we've given away on the journey here on earth and with different partners. We're calling all that we are back so we may be whole and sovereign moving forward. If this resonates, say yes. We ask that everything that we've done today in this mini session be anchored, integrated, and sealed in everyone's field. If this resonates with you, say yes. Giving thanks for everything that's been received as we ground down into our bodies, feeling our connection with the earth. Sealing up this session, completing it, all work done. Thank you. And so it is. Taking your time to come back into your body gradually, being gentle with yourself, and when you are ready, you can open your eyes.
Beautiful. Thank you both for that. We're a great example of the type of resonance that you provide for the alignment to take place. And I'll ask both of you if you can answer separately, and then we'll go into live Q&A. And we definitely have to go through your special offer here in a little bit. But Saskia, I'll start with you. And again, when I had my session with you and we went through that, you really spoke to and about this integration and an alignment that allows what's ready for you to meet you from that higher presence. How has this worked? Shifted clients that you worked with? What have you noticed? What shows up in their life by being in this field, by participating in this code exchange, by the up-leveling that you help to provide?
Yeah, I'm really just like, that's the part of my work that's the most fulfilling work, when I just see like the shifts in my clients' life. Like it's just, I'm blown away literally by God's glory. I mean, there's so many examples I could speak on. And I mean, just one that just comes to my mind was like a client that she had like panic attacks for years. You know, she had like extreme anxiety issues, and she didn't feel safe at all in her body. And I was really working strongly with the divine masculine energy, strengthening that architecture in her and doing a lot of powerful upgrades. And just like after 2 sessions, like her whole panic and anxiety was gone, and it hasn't come back ever since. And yeah, I'm just blown away by some of these examples where, you know, certain things, you know, can take really long with traditional healing methods, but with quantum field work, you know, we can go straight to the very core of these blocks, and you know, we can really allow that soul essence to come back, this inner power, this inner strength. Whatever's missing returns, and you know, the person's transformed. And it's, yeah, really incredible to see that. There's also been a lot of abundance shifts for people that I've got a lot of feedback from. And of course also in terms of, you know, the divine union upgrades with relationships, people calling in their true beloved. That's just the most beautiful experience of all, when we see how that happens. And you know, it's truly a miracle. Like there's so many miracles that happen around us. In my own life, I've experienced the most incredible miracles happening, being on this path, starting to correct my devotional template and practicing this inner divine union. I mean, literally within a few months, like my entire life changed around. My entire reality was absolutely transformed, like beyond my wildest dreams, you know. And I'm still blown away by it, and just so many different examples I could name, but there's so many.
I love it. Yeah. I love as you speak to your own breakthroughs personally, because what I sense in you, that there was this point where you're just like, no, this is shifting. Like the light switch went off, and something in that just provided a catapult into the next energy. And so I, for my session with you, I realized that you bring us into that, to that point of, I'm choosing something. And in that choice, in that devotion to that, it just becomes unshakable. And what your trajectory is, no more the wobbling, the doubt, the self-negation. It takes on a whole different life of itself, which really empowered from the essence of that light, who you truly are, as you would describe it, that gets to be activated. So that's amazing. And Lukaijah, what have you noticed with your clients?
My work has evolved over time to where I used to be a solution and wound healer, where I would just help people feel better and resolve anything from anxiety to childhood trauma to problems with money to a repressed voice. And after working with Saskia, I started realizing that I want to get to the very core. So what happens to so many people, so many of us, is that because the pain that we're in and have been in is so strong, we have coping mechanisms that we bring in to help us deal with life. And we're not honest with where we're at and what we're using to feel better. So like you said, we get people to the moment to realize where, to be honest, where they are at, and then help people remove the coping mechanisms of how they're not being in integrity with their self, to self-source, so that they can begin a path of true fulfillment. And from that point on, my work is really about activating their higher dimensional embodiment. So for men, their Magi Codex, their Grail King Codex. For women, their oracle nature or their divine goddess architecture, embodying that from the higher realms and into the planet, and moving the blocks out of the way and supporting them to anchor that in. And then from there, get on mission, manifest your union partner, and let's rock and roll and build this kingdom of heaven.
That's wonderful. This is so good. Y'all, I want to open up to Q&A. So if you guys want to ask your personal question, raise your hand and we'll start putting some people on as panelists. And we'll start getting that going here. Let's take a couple of questions first, and then we'll get into a special offer, because I want people to give the people the opportunity to really dive in. So into what you have to offer after the show, which is phenomenal. So the first, actually, let me promote y'all to panelists first. That might help. And as you're coming on, Katrina, let's start with you. If you can unmute yourself, and if you want to turn on your video, that'd be wonderful. Hey, Katrina, welcome. Katrina, do me a favor and unmute yourself.
I love your programs. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for calling in. Yes. So what is your question for Saskia and Lukaijah?
Well, Divine Union is so dear to my heart, and love is my focus. And I just noticed lately there's something that's still a little heavy on my heart. And I think it has to do with an ex relationship where this person still wants to hurt and harm me, even though I've moved on and forgive and blessings. And, I'm not carrying that person with me, but somehow they keep wanting to get my attention and create hurt. So I don't know what else I can do to kind of clear that within myself.
So let's see if we can take care of that in less than 5 minutes. Are you ready?
I am so ready. Thank you.
What's his name?
Ooh, say his name. All right. His
first name. Just the first name.
His first name is Tom.
Tom. Okay. Thank you for saying it. So let's close our eyes, Katrina. And if anyone else has an ex in the field that you want to address or work with in any way, I'm inviting everyone in the audience to also close your eyes and go through this quick process, 5 minutes, give or take a couple minutes. So as we close our eyes, as we ground in, we visualize again a platform of light below us, a temple of light surrounding us, a pillar of light anchoring this space as we call on the presence of God, Source, Holy Father, Holy Mother, the guardians, the healing teams, our higher selves to be present. Katrina, do you give permission to God, Source, the healing teams, myself to work on you on all levels for your highest and best?
Yes, thank you.
And that goes for everyone listening who wants to resolve something with an ex-partner. So we're gonna, in this temple space, we're calling in the higher self of Tom, and everyone else you can call the higher self of this individual you want to bring resolution with. We're bringing in the overview of the relationship between you and this person, the overview that contains all the memory of experiences in this timeline and in every timeline that you've ever been with this person. We're asking for the integration of the lessons, the completion of all soul contracts, vows, agreements, spells, curses, blessings that were put upon you as a duo or between you and other groups and beings. We ask that be resolved on all levels and the traumas healed with your permission now, yes?
Yes, yes.
Ishetenderia kuru sotono numua, kekengeria sotoro shukukuru sunuturu shumua, ishetenderia sokoro sotoro shodorosh. So we're calling in the awareness of any potential karmic debt or a contract agreement or obligation that he's holding on to you. We're asking through divine grace that this karmic debt be paid at its original causal moment for you and your ancestors to be free from him and his ancestors and all forces. You don't owe him, he doesn't owe you. We're completing this up multidimensionally for you and everyone listening now, yes?
Yes, thank you.
Interiana sotoro shukukuru sunuturu shukuru umupura satenderia sanateria. We're lifting the spell or the curse energy that was projected through him towards you. His soul isn't embodied as much in that, but he has a leak in the field where this other energy is coming through. We are asking to have clear boundaries to him and that energy. So we're resolving any karmic contracts between you and your ancestors and that energy that passes through him. We ask that it be cleaned from all dimensions, time and space for your highest and best now, yes?
Yes, thank you.
Blocking that out of the field. And we're calling this psychic divorce now between you and Tom and between everyone listening and this person. All your heart, spirit, soul, sexual DNA washed clean, brought back to you in the right place. All of his energy washed clean. And we're finalizing and releasing the old relationship blueprint to the heart of God now, yes?
Yes, and thank you.
So we're giving him, and everyone give this person up to God. You're setting them free. You're setting yourself free. And we're inviting from the highest place of source, if there's a divine relationship blueprint that wants to descend between you and that person, that's a new geometry. Maybe there's an alliance, maybe there's a friendship, or maybe you're never meant to connect with them again. Whatever it is, we receive the divine relationship blueprint to protect the field, to ground it in, and to complete this process now, yes?
Yes, thank you.
Bringing in the spirit of forgiveness to ripple across the field, forgiving this being and forgiving yourself and forgiving all other parties as we allow this to be integrated and sealed for everyone listening, yes?
Yes, and thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, inviting him to now release from the temple space. All the connections are cleared. The boundaries are put up. May your field be blessed. Thank you so much, Katrina. Let's see how that goes for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for calling, Katrina. Blessings too. Wonderful. Let's go to another caller. Let's go to Sarah. Let's get you to unmute, please.
Hi, thanks for choosing me.
Yeah, welcome.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. My question was actually kind of similar to the previous one, except for I'm still in the relationship. And it's been going for about 30 years we've been together. And it seems like every time I'm able to move out or do something, it all comes back. And so I'm not sure what I need to do, but I'm ready to kind of get rid of it and move on. And I sometimes can actually feel his energy, kind of taking over mine, and it's been hard for me to block it.
Let's speak to this first, and then we'll see if we're meant to do something.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like there could be, when I tune in, I'm getting that there's, you know, a deeper layer, possibly from childhood, and there might be even a past life equivalent to it, where there's like a trauma bond, like a Stockholm syndrome, you know, with the dark tyrannical force. Like this is the force that, you know, can cause our nervous system to feel terrorized, to feel dominated, to feel like shame, to feel like basically enslaved or stuck on it to a certain degree, that is not allowing us to fully break free, you know, into our liberation and fulfillment. And yeah, so this is something where it's really essential to do like what we do in for this, that has been extremely effective and that's been shown to us, is, you know, to really go back in childhood and basically reject throughout all time, space and dimensions, like really that force, you know, that force that is not coming to a human, which is coming to a, it's really from the dark forces that can hijack certain humans and allow them to be used as weapons against us. So we like have to discern between, you know, the innocence and purity of the soul at its core, then like the overlays to trauma of the ego, which can be the human shadow aspects that can then go into covenant in certain moments with these dark forces that want to steal our energy, that want to harvest our life force energy. So what we need to do to protect ourselves is to really, you know, without feeling guilty, there's a lot of the times there's an aspect of us that wants to either save the person or feels like, you know, sorry, or feels like even guilty if we would have boundaries and reject them. You know, it can also come in this sense of this template called the inverted empaths, where we are, you know, an empath, but it has like a leak in our field, like we're wanting so much to emphasize with the other person that we're failing to protect our own boundaries, our own life force, when essentially at the very core, it is a win-win situation, you know, to have these boundaries. It's only, you know, going to drain you to not have boundaries, and simultaneously the other person also just remains stuck in that dynamic. Because essentially, you know, everyone has to make this experience that if we're not sourcing from God, you know, that's not going to bring us fulfillment. That brings us suffering. If we're, basically in ties with other people where we're trying to source from them, even through these expectations or forms of duty, where, you know, we feel entitled to receive something, or we feel like we must give to someone. If it's not coming from joy, if it's not true love, that's just giving, you know, then it's just not in the highest and best, and it's in the highest and best of everyone to just set both free. And yeah, so that's like the process that we recommend.
So yeah,
you want to add something?
Yeah, we're not saying that your partner is the tyrannical force, but but often with men, due to wounding, men can sometimes, and different, not just men, can open up to that tyrannical masculine force that's dominating or controlling or holding. And so as men, we need to clean that out. And so if you're with a man who's willing to identify that he sometimes goes into that tyrannical energy and is willing to do the work, great. But if he is not willing to acknowledge it, get humble and do the work, then it is a beautiful opportunity for you to get prepared for the full liberation from the force that he's not willing to separate from. And with that, like she said, it's a combination of the inner child work and the past life work, multidimensional spiritual sovereignty work. But the one thing that we can do very quickly for everyone, because I know we have a limited time, and you know, I recommend, this is a very sensitive unweaving process when there is someone that can become a little bit volatile or upset. So we have to have everything ready when we're ready to go forth. And so this is just one step of it. And I don't want to encourage any premature action, but I want to just prepare your inner child at least one step, and then reach out to us so we can support you further if you're guided to. Okay, Sarah? So let's close our eyes together. And again, everyone who's here listening can receive this as well. Calling in the temple, the pillar of light, the spirit of God or higher selves. Do you give permission for me to work on you on all levels for your highest and best, Sarah and audience?
Yes.
And so we're calling in greater awareness into your field, the difference between the divine, the true divine masculine energy and the true divine feminine energy, the true Holy Father, the true Holy Mother energy, and the dark masculine and dark feminine, the distorted energies that have come in, that have infiltrated. And we're bringing that awareness and discernment back into your childhood. So when you were a child and you had your parents operating in certain ways, sometimes they were embodying love, and sometimes they might have been through their own wounding, open and channeling this tyrannical dark father force. And in that case, due to survival, we may have learned to love that force and not be allowed to have boundaries with that force. But now, as an adult with your higher self, we're going back to your inner child. We're showing you how to see the innocence of your mom's soul and of your father's soul and anyone else in your life at the time, but also see when the distortion comes in and put a boundary to that, where your inner child rejects the dark force energy, but still loves the soul of your parents. That you know how to do this, you're able to do this, and you do this retroactively through time and space and dimension to put a clear boundary to the dark tyrannical force across all time and space with your permission now, yes?
Yes.
And this is for everyone now. Just say yes and witness this happening. And we're taking this across the timelines. Anytime that you agree to give your power to submit to this dark tyrannical father energy, are you willing to break that covenant, that contract, claim your power back and restore it and return to alliance with the true Holy Father and say, no more dark masculine, no more tyrannical force in my field, yes?
Yes.
Bringing in self-love and self-forgiveness to seal your field now, yes?
Yes.
All right, and we can also do a quick quantum reversing process since conception. When your soul was in the womb, we're going to bring in this strengthening of your 12th dimensional living light Christ shield. So your shield will be sealed up and strengthened and fortified to the golden rainbow plasma line, repaired from any leaks or tears, and it can intelligently discern what is in your highest and best and what is not. And it can reject everything out of your field that is in some way harmful to you. And also what this shield can do, it allows you to source everything straight from God that you're not getting from your parents or from people around you. So anywhere you experience neglect or abuse in childhood, you will reject that and you will receive only what is of true love, true support throughout your whole childhood. And everything that's missing, we're just doing this whole reversing process. You're receiving everything directly from the true cosmic parents, Holy Mother, Holy Father. We're also asking now that all ties and chains be broken to this dark tyrannical force throughout all time, space, and dimensions. To divine grace, to your soul's free will, we command and decree this be done now. Kiana Maya Tiana, Ashukuya Maya Kiana Tiana.
Visualizing your little baby self, your little beautiful baby self, and everyone you can visualize this, your little beautiful inner child baby self being held by Holy Mother, Holy Father, dipping you in the baptismal waters of the sacred plasma love of the heart of God, not through any religion, not through any field, but the highest love. You are a holy daughter. And for those listening, you are a holy daughter, a holy son. You've always been holy. You are anointed and baptized in the love of Holy Father and Holy Mother. You are worthy of the very best in life. Anchoring this in, grounding this in, across all time, space, and dimension with your permission, yes?
Yes.
It's restoring this deep remembrance of your sacredness, your worthiness, how precious you are, that you are the living glory of God.
Grounding this all in. Anchoring it in the field and sealing it up with your permission now, yes?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Sarah, thank you so much for calling in. And I want everybody else on the call as well as we go into our awareness and our amplifier light and come back into a grounded, anchored sense of who we are. Remember that that dark energy, as Lukaijah and Saskia are calling it here, are energies that have had so much soul fracture that they have, if you emanate that darkness, it's that soul loss that integrated it in. So if we remember that as you bring it in, as you release that with compassion because of that awareness, that will help you to integrate it. And I should provide a platform for the energy that is being directed to you to transmute with you, to grow with you, to see the light within themselves that perhaps, not perhaps, that without a doubt they had forgotten, or else they would not be trying to manipulate light out of you. It's a grab out of desperation, out of sadness. So what you feel in confusion, imagine that amplified exponentially through the one that is directing that towards you because of their forgetfulness, because of how much they are fractured off in that. And so this divine union, if you will, we're all in divine union, whether it's the dark energy or the light energy. And it's the union of all that will bring the release of suffering for all of us. And none of us will stop suffering until all of us have stopped suffering. That's just the truth of our divine nature and our union to source. It just is. So remember, and I want to invite you into this also, and repeat after me. It's safe to know the truth. I choose the truth. The truth will set me free. The truth is love. I choose to stand in truth. I choose myself. I choose love. And bring it back and anchor it back into your capacity to anchor that within yourself. Remembering again with compassion that what's emanating towards you is only reminding you where you have fractured off yourself in different ways also. And it's reminding you, wait, I've lost part of myself through soul loss, through soul fracturing, through trauma. And thank you for being so loud in my field that I remember to start looking for my pieces, to start choosing that, to start devoting to my light and the truth that it is. Bring yourself back home. Y'all bring yourself back home. Thank you so much. Y'all, that was an amazing process. Amazing, amazing. And Sarah, thank you so much. God, we're running long. There's another caller I want to take, but before we go into another caller, I want to go through your special offer. So everybody, Lukaijah and Saskia are leading a couple of online events. There's a coupon for a deep course that they're going to take you into. There's some other recordings and transmissions that are available. And I highly encourage you to check it out. April has typed the link into the chat box. You can click in the chat box to get to a special offer page, or you can go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/April. I forgot what it was. Is it Divine? April will type it in because it's a different name than what we typically do. beyondtheordinaryshow.com/union24. Thank you, April. And it'll take you to that same page. And Lukaijah, Saskia, if you will, will you guide us through what you're offering on this? Give us an overview so that people know how they're going deeper into this work with you.
Yeah, the first one is our masterclass. In a little over a month from now, we're going to do a live masterclass here on Zoom. It'll be 2 hours where we'll go more deep into these processes and actually take you through a specific sequence similar to what you just witnessed with the two audience members that will help you deepen into that sacred union, become more magnetic to what you desire, and clear some of the things in the way. So that's our live masterclass. Saskia has 2 incredible pre-recorded activations, quantum healing activations that are included. And I have a life purpose alignment home study course that I've included. And all of those things will be offered as immediate downloads and the live masterclass. And then we have 2 coupons to our signature systems, heavily discounted coupons, if you wanted to go deeper into that. And then stay tuned for the rest of what we're here to offer in the future.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, through the discounts, these are signature series that you guys are offered, are a couple of $1,000s each. And so you're offering, what's the discount that people can participate on that? Just the coupon alone is worth hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. So to do Saskia's course, it's going to be $297, and my course is $497. So my course is at $1,500 off.
Okay. Wow. Amazing. Amazing discount. And again, we have the live calls beginning in March. That's correct?
Yeah, there's one live masterclass, March 24th, I believe, is the class that everyone can attend live.
Right. Fantastic. All right. Y'all take advantage of it. This whole course, I asked Lukaijah and Saskia to be very generous with their offer because it's the first time here. And of course, I always want to give you guys specials with BTO. And so they discounted. It's only $97 today, which is an amazing price. You can't get Lukaijah or Saskia at this discounted rate necessarily, unless you come to BTO, of course. But you'll take advantage of it. Again, it's $97. It's a 2-payment option. And again, you can find the link in the chat box or go to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/divine, not divine. I keep wanting to say divine. beyondtheordinaryshow.com/union24. They'll take you to that same page. Lukaijah, Saskia, I want to take another caller that we have on the line, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Dina, let's get you to unmute.
Hi, John. Thanks for calling on me. Hello.
Yeah.
I can't remember how to pronounce your name.
And Saskia.
Yes, thank you. I just jumped on late, so I'm not really sure what the question is, or if there was just
Oh, you can't ask questions if you weren't here from the beginning. Forget it.
Thank you. Yeah, if there's something from my guides that think I need clearing or opening or whatever it is for my next growth, I would love.
Lukaijah, Saskia, before you answer that, Pierina, I love Pierina. We're dear friends. What would you like clearing and guidance on?
You're asking me?
Yes.
Well, just opening up more to my gifts so I can be of service and to not be afraid to put myself out there and to do the work that I'm meant to do.
I just had a session with Saskia and she specializes in that, by the way. Up to your gifts. And Lukaijah works with high-level people to expand that also. So which one of y'all want to take this? Or of course, in tandem, I'm sure you guys will open it up. So
I just want to ask you to, if you're willing, to share what makes you scared about fully stepping forth and sharing your gifts?
Well, past lifetimes being killed for my gifts, for showing them. Even now, just stepping forward and just having different beings channel through me. Right now, I just work with the angels, but I've had light language channel through my hands since Mount Shasta. I had a shamanic experience up there, but I've also had bad experiences, 5-7 years ago, where it was almost like a galactic battlefield, things trying to bring me down. So, yeah, even in an ex-lover, like you were saying, taken over by something, and with that last caller, that's all I caught. So yeah, I've had that experience in doing 3 years of cleaning my light body. And it was probably 4 years ago now, but yeah. So
yeah, that sounds like fear of persecution is the main block here. Yeah, I totally can relate to that. In my own experience, I had to overcome those blocks too. And yeah, we really also focus a lot on protection, spiritual warfare that's going on. There's so much anti-hierogamic technology and black magic in the field.
Yes.
So many different things we need to be protected from. And yet, like when we are coming from this place of devotion, this willingness of wanting to stand for who we are, for truth, to serve God's divine will. The truth is, there's nothing that protects us more than that. Like, this is the ultimate protection, because this is how, we're really giving ourselves over to God. We're becoming this vessel for God. And, God would never just allow us to step into mission and then not be protected. It comes, like devotion comes, this service comes with protection. It comes with support. Like, we will be step by step initiated into what we need. And it does take sometimes really like facing these fears and, confronting them, overcoming them. But like, we will be guided when we really open up and keep calling in this divine support. And I really specialize on that, and Lukaijah too, to support people really stepping powerfully into their mission, like claiming who they are and just, expressing their true soul essence. And it's so beautiful to witness that. I've had many clients that have battled with these same fears, and I've now witnessed them stepping out, and it's so beautiful to see like the fulfillment that comes with it. And yeah, there's always the protection, the support, that the divine support that comes in when we're willing to, receive that, when we're open to clearing these past blocks, these timelines out at the core, bring back these soul fragments, these pieces, and integrate them. Like, this power comes back, this courage comes back, and just this inner knowing that we can break through any block comes back.
Yeah, and there's a place of being in battle with these darker forces that binds us, in a sense, to a timeline. Then there's a way of saying, oh, everything is one, dark and light are one, and negating the fact what's actually happening in certain dimensions in this false light bubble. And then there's a path of that Christic path that we have no enemies. Christ, the spirit of the Christ, the cosmic Christ, the divine self, has no enemies. However, we know what's going on, and we have clear boundaries through self-love. And what we need to do to return to that is unbind ourselves from the moments that we engaged in warfare, or through the trauma, we've retreated and started fearing those energies. We have to become fearless. And so there's a couple of timelines when I scan your field that can be resolved. And we're going to go through, we're going to do it in 3 to 5 minutes with your permission. Yes?
Yes, I love that. Thank you.
So let's all close our eyes together. And this has the potential to support other people with timelines as well, in which you've engaged in warfare and battle in a way that is keeping you bound and limited. So as we create the temple field around us, the pillar of light, the presence of God, the healing teams to be present, do you give permission to meet and the team to work on you on all levels for your highest and best?
Yes.
And so do you give yourself permission to release what you're here to release, receive what you're here to receive?
Yes.
So we call in that overview, the Akashic overview. And as I read the Akash, and I can see these 2 timelines, the first one, you were bound by duty. You belonged to a group that was engaged in battle as part of a treaty with other beings. And so anytime anyone was listening, anyone listening here was bound to a specific battle, to be in war based on allegiances, loyalties. Are you willing to break those vows, agreements, spells, curses, allegiances, loyalties, if they no longer serve you, and free yourself and your ancestors from all battle that you're still in that is no longer relevant or for your highest and best now? Yes?
Yes, please.
And then in this other timeline, you were forced to engage in warfare to protect someone you loved. It was almost like that blackmail that brought you out to engage. And so anyone that's been blackmailed to engage in warfare or in battle, let's bring the rescue mission to rescue the souls that we love from said warfare and said beings, and cancel clear the agreements, contracts, manipulations, blackmails that we bought into to engage in warfare, give ourselves, sacrifice, martyr ourselves, and collapse it out of our field. As we put a boundary to those forces, we claim back and rescue ourselves so that we can be in sovereign wholeness on our divine path. If this resonates, say yes.
Yes.
Isheneteria na kuru sotoro shukuru muturu huturu shukuru sunuturena. Ikeriana, are you willing now to stand up, release all enemies, all battles from your timelines, from your ancestors, and stand up in the presence of that Christ Sophia, divine masculine feminine, eternal victory, and declare you are devoted to God and source and doing what you're here to do on this planet, yes?
Yes, yes, and yes.
And I'm going to invite everyone to do that, calling forth the spirit of eternal victory to activate in the light body, in the heart. The spirit of God presence is victorious. The eternal victory is now emanating through and making us pillars on the path as we move forward in alignment with divine will, with your permission, yes?
Yes.
Isheneteria kurros sotoros shutoros, anchoring this down for everyone listening. Imekeria, ishea kukurros sotoros, sealing, grounding, giving thanks, and so it is. We need you, and everyone here, we need you to step into the presence of true self-love, safety, and eternal victory to the greatest degree. Saskia and I hold you in this love. We embrace you through a tone of equality in this network of sovereignty where we are going out to anchor in the highest heavenly blueprints on this planet. As pillars together, we invite each and every one of you into this field. We are all in this together. Let's do this.
Beautiful. Pierina, blessings.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to see you.
Blessings. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Pierina and everybody on the call, come back and listen to the replay. We'll run that a little bit later this evening. It'll take a little while to render the video, but we'll post the replay in the email link when we send it out a little bit later. Of course, with the special offer that you can access one more time by finding it in the chat box. April will post it here pretty quickly again so that you can easily find it, or by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/union24. I remembered. .com/replay. And Lukaijah, Saskia, with that, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing the energy, your codes, and the resonance. It's beautiful to receive, and what a beautiful activation for so many of us on the call today. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So it's an honor to be here.
Yes, an honor.
Yeah, honor to have you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
And everybody on the call with us today and listening to the replay, I bow to each and every one of you in namaste, truly. No matter where you think you are in this light journey, I can tell you that you're the light of 1,000 suns. And I hope that you can feel the truth of that inside of you. It's not that you're not that. It's just that some things there's a little shadow in the way that gets in the way of your remembering. But we see and get that thing. I look forward to seeing you on the next call.